Hi, this is Ariella Carmel at Calcalist's Mind the Tech conference in New York. I'm joined by Eyal Redler, managing partner at The Garage. Thank you so much for joining me, Eyal.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So can you start off by telling me a little bit about The Garage?
Sure. The Garage is an early stage VC focused on fintech and enterprise tech. We invest mainly in seed rounds and pre-seed rounds. We usually lead, although we can follow as well. And our most significant added value is the connection we have to the financial ecosystem, and to financial institutions, both in Israel and abroad in the UK, in the US, in Australia, in Japan, which we think is quite unique, definitely in Israel and even worldwide.
So can you tell me a little bit about the rise of early stage startups that you've been seeing in the last couple of months?
Yeah, I think 2023 was a pretty harsh year. You can see it in the numbers, that's no secret. And I think the last 6 months were even worse just because there was no actual time to work and fundraise, I think. I started with the August, most Israelis don't work in August, and then we had the Jewish holidays in which most Israelis don't work, and then we had the war starting. And then we had the Christian holidays. So there was about 6 months in which I think a lot of entrepreneurs stayed at home and didn't go out and try to fundraise. And now it's just a good time, seems like a better timing to do that. And we see a lot of early stage beginning in the last 2 months, which hopefully are going to continue towards the rest of 24.
Now, can you talk a bit about what it's been like to be a VC operating in this space in the midst of a war?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a very it depends greatly on what kind of VC you are and the specifics. I think some VCs were impacted less. We, since all the three founders came from a long military career, and our biggest asset is our connection to the Israeli intelligence alumni. So 6 of the 7 Garage team members joined the reserve duty on the 8th of October. And the gates were literally closed for almost 3 months, or a bit more than 3 months. So that was a major impact. And the deal flow as well, at least 50% of our deal flow comes from the alumni of the security forces, intelligence. So obviously a lot of these people were going back to the army as well. So there was, even if the gates were open, I'm not sure how many people would come in. So I think that was very unique for the Garage in comparison to other VCs. On the other front, we were lucky to have LPs which were very, very supportive. We don't have a lot of LPs, which is an advantage at this time. So Bank Leumi and Valley National Bank, and from Hanan and Bank Leumi and Ira, who actually came to Israel, visited 2 or 3 weeks after the war started to show his support. So that was very helpful, having LPs who support you and don't question what's going to happen and why you joined the reserve duty and the Garage is closed for 3 months.
Wow. How do you think that the war will impact entrepreneurship in the future going forward?
I think that's very hard to know. I think that, in my opinion, the obvious thing is that it's gonna impact a lot of people, kind of like what happened, after the COVID. I think people are asking themselves existential questions about what I want to do with my life, whether I want to work in a cube doing whatever QA development, engineering, or I want to create something of my own. And we see a lot of people now joining the reserve duty, coming out of their mundane work, and in one day starting to command dozens, hundreds of people, dealing with people's lives, and it's not easy for them to come back to their mundane work the day after. So I think some people are gonna change what they do in lives. I hope that's gonna support or contribute to the number of early beginnings we're gonna see, because I think some people are gonna, whoever is an entrepreneur in his spirit or her spirit, might use the opportunity to actually start something new.
Okay, well, on that note, we're gonna close the conversation. But
Perfect, for the pleasure.
Thank you so much for speaking with me.